Months ago I made a video detailing the lore, abilities, and weaknesses for the enemies seen in Black Ops Cold War. And now, months later, I'm here to do the same thing, but for Vanguard. So let's get into this small enemy pool in everyone's favorite Call of Duty game. Before we begin, actually, a quick mention that there seems to be no elemental weaknesses in this game, from what I've seen. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but anyway, without further ado, Boomschreier. Boomschreier's bodies appear to be burnt corpses engraved with the rune that belongs to Cortifex. Cracks decorate their bodies with the same red from the rune flashing through. As their name suggests, they scream as they run towards their intended target, exploding when in close proximity, similar to Tormentors in Cold War. One thing to note is their explosions can harm other zombies, so if you hear or see one in a crowd, I suggest taking it out so it could potentially remove the swarm with it. In Shinonuma and the Archon, Boomschreiers gain the additional spawn of having their own special rounds, acting like Hellhounds or any other special round, where they grant a max ammo upon the round's completion. Sturmkrieger. Like the Boomschreier, the Sturmkrieger was given its name by Professor Kraft. Equipped in heavy protective armor and a deadly minigun, the Sturmkrieger will absolutely destroy your armor with its fast and powerful, previously mentioned, minigun. I really can't stand these guys, but thankfully they aren't that bad to take down, and while their accuracy can be good, it could be like Modern Warfare 3's Terminus soldiers pre-patch. I'd recommend taking care of them immediately, just so they don't shred away at your armor. Oddly enough, the Sturmkrieger is the only enemy in Vanguard to receive an HVT variant, the Uberkrieger. However, this unique variant is only seen during the boss fight against Cortifex in the Archon. Zabala the Deceiver. One of several elder gods that reside from within the Dark Aether, Zabala the Deceiver is a loyal follower of Cortifex the Deathless and a member of the Sisters of Agony, a faction of deadly assassins at work for Cortifex. When Cortifex reawakened and bonded with Wolfram von List, he'd eventually have Zabala rejoin him in battle, where she'd unleash phantom clones of herself to attack Kraft's special forces. While you were never facing off against the real Zabala, she felt every ounce of the pain delivered onto her clones. Her forms of attack is rather simple and easy to avoid, but also easy to forget about. Warping around to the nearest player, she'll unleash 3 deadly warnings that if left ignored will deliver some pretty heavy damage. Her masks are her weaknesses, and depending on the weapon of choice, can be very easy to destroy. Her attack is similar to the Energy Mine, which is Syraxis' specialist ability, further showing their previous relation to one another. Like the previous enemies, Zabala can be distracted by the Cymbal Monkey. She's aware of the fact that it's a simple toy, but she oddly cannot resist its tune. Knowing this, she will attack the Monkey Bomb, destroying it before it can lure any more prey. Echo of Syraxis. When Syraxis was bonded with a lord in an Okinawan village, her at-the-time husband, Cortifex, also made contact with them, convincing the villagers to construct an artifact known as a bronze mirror. The artifact resembles the Sentinel artifact, but they are not one and the same. The bronze mirror severed the Lord's connection with Syraxis, entrapping her back inside of her artifact. Simultaneously, it also removed many of her memories, through a mix of trauma and, well, because of Cortifex himself. These memories became a physical being, an echo of Syraxis. Kraft's special forces had to face off against this echo to help Syraxis regain her lost memories in hopes that whatever knowledge she once held could be used against Cortifex and Von List. To defeat her, Kraft's special forces had to eliminate revenants marked with blue Dark Aether runes with the Wunderwaffe DG2. When enough were eliminated and their essence traveled into the bronze mirror, a circle would form around the artifact. Luring the echo inside, the special forces would then be able to cause her harm. As for her attacks, they're more or less like Zabala's. Cortifex the Deathless. And finally, Cortifex the Deathless, the big bad of Vanguard. His lore will be discussed more in depth in a future video, so I apologize for rushing this, but to put it nice and sweet, Cortifex was born into a royal bloodline and ascended to the throne by, you guessed it, causing some bloodshed of his own. His goal was to conquer the Dark Aether for himself, starting the Nether Wars. At some point, he was banished inside of his artifact until Wolfram von List rediscovered it and bonded with it. Together, they unleashed an army of the dead in the city of Stalingrad. Kortifex's hopes, even before this time, was to ascend to Archon status, powerful beings granted strength by the construct. In the final map of Vanguard, Kortifex achieved just that, growing in size and gaining immense power. Able to summon bolts of lightning or even bigger volumes of zombies, tossing down etheric orbs that would follow the player until it detonates, and protecting himself in a shield that can only be destroyed by sending the moon fragments towards the construct. Oh, and he can heal himself. According to Syraxis, and with further evidence by the Sin Eaters, his abilities that he performs during this boss fight, minus the spawning of zombies, are taken from the Elder Gods the Special Forces bond with, best seen with Verkana's healing ability. However, like all existential threats to humanity, the best way to defeat it...
Use a gun. And if that don't work, use more gun.
In the end, Kortifex was defeated, and we've yet to see any of these enemies again. But I think that's okay. It makes Vanguard feel unique, more so than it already is. I'm sorry that there wasn't really much lore this time around, and sadly this won't improve as they kinda stopped doing lore for these things. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed. Part 3 will be in the future, based on Modern Warfare 3's enemy selection. Bye bye.